Hey guys, so this is our first channel together. This is me and my dude, Alex. So we're basically gonna just talk about Cash Jordan's video. We're gonna react to it. It's illegal storm Chicago shelter. ICE Battalion responds with excessive force. So here we go.
Move back! Move back!
ICE just released new drone footage. Look at this. You see the individual launch a tear gas canister in the direction of federal agents.
So, as ICE agents defend their deportation jail from wave after wave of crazy people, they're also ramping up raids across Chicago. And it turns out homeless shelters, apartment buildings, and even hospitals are no longer safe zones for illegal fugitives hiding in this former sanctuary. Which explains why angry rioters will not stop throwing themselves at law enforcement, even if it means they're taken down permanently.
Outside of Chicago, more than a dozen demonstrators were arrested at an ICE facility. Federal agents clashing with protesters.
Surveillance video shows federal agents in unmarked vehicles jumping out and chasing after a group of people standing in front of the homeless shelter in Bronzeville.
They never identified themselves. They never asked for anyone in particular, didn't present any warrant.
This stunt has nothing to do with public safety.
They're not targeting violent criminals or gang members. They're arresting tamale vendors.
You know, I think the first thing I would say is, how about you live? And
that's because they really want to push that ideology of, oh, they need to show a warrant, you know, due process, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, they don't. You know, like the deportation order is the warrant. So, and they don't need to show it to anybody, any stranger on the street. They just have to tell it to the person they're grabbing. So it's stupid.
I mean, can't we just put like a freaking wording on the side of these ICE vehicles or something that actually states that, so that people who can actually read that are freaking liberals will know?
Can they read?
That's what I'm saying. People who can actually read.
Probably not, because they would still deny it. Because like, even though you tell them like the facts of it, where you're saying that these people are illegal, they'll tell you that's not a crime, that it's like a misdemeanor or whatever, but it's actually a felony because it's in 8 U.S.C. 1325. So that's literally a felony. It's like they can go to jail for that, but these people are too stupid to research.
Caught in a world of fantasy.
the apartment next door to trained Aragua members taking advantage of American citizens in a violent way. Why don't you live next to them and then see how much of a Gestapo or a we are?
You know, they've got all the riot equipment. There's probably some Palestinian flags in the background. They keep asking for things like, you know, due process rights, and, you know, the conditions are not good. But we know that the people who are put through the immigration
law and order will prevail, and President Trump will make sure of it.
So Chicago activists are furious that ICE doesn't leak their operations ahead of time. Can you believe this? And what nobody in Chicago wants to admit is the entire reason ICE is even in their communities in the first place is because this is a sanctuary city. And it is 100% the fault of Chicago that they even have an ICE presence on their streets, because their main way of resisting federal immigration law is by banning local police from working with ICE, which means that when the Trend Aragua fugitives hiding in apartment buildings get arrested for committing crimes, ICE never finds out, and they get released and get to come home, forcing ICE to raid their building at 3 a.m. instead of picking these guys up from the local jail. And this presents a major catch-22 for sanctuary cities who say they don't want ICE around when their very policies force ICE into their communities. But perhaps this is the plan of the party of political violence who's radicalized sanctuary mobs all across this country into thinking ICE is out of control, arresting innocent tamale vendors, as the governor puts it. When in fact, anyone wearing plain clothes, hiding in plain sight might look normal, but could be hiding a dangerous criminal past, which they brought with them to America. And that brings us to the real reason this wild activity in Chicago is just getting started. These locals, they truly believe the country around them is crumbling. But the problem for them is that as people in the rest of America who love law and order and respect our troops, and our police
If he's
officers and our
bending
ICE agents
inside,
see
like,
this
what the
stuff,
heck you
it
talking
just
about?
pushes us
If you
away
land on the
from
ground
whatever
and then
values these people say they
stuff
have.
goes
And they're
inward,
doing great
you know, it doesn't
damage
make
to
any
their
sense.
cause,
Oh,
which
man,
doesn't
you
have
missed the
any
protest
merit
from yesterday.
anyways,
There was-
since
I had
their
to call it
value
out because
system
there was
is
a person that
essentially
had a
the
Puerto Rican
replacement of American
I was looking right
capitalism
now,
with
like,
communism,
believe it
the
or not.
reopening of the U.S. border, and the decriminalization
back,
of
man.
every crime you can imagine, which is why these people work so hard to defend gang members and criminals who are the ones ICE is out there trying to arrest. People who make these communities worse every single day they remain in them, yet for some reason activists think it's ICE who's hurting their community, not the dangerous federal fugitives who were just extracted from an apartment building where they were squatting and not paying rent.
They detained about 24 people, searching only apartments where no rent was being paid. So far, we don't know if they got the high-value targets they've been tracking. One guy did display a Tren de Aragua tattoo. But the new detainees are being held and processed at this ICE facility in Broadview. This place has become a flashpoint for riots. Around 30 rioters have been arrested since the start of Operation Midway Blitz.
Isn't that crazy? You got a whole apartment building, you got people living there who aren't paying any rent and came into the building with the intention of exploiting everyone else who lives there. And look at who's defending them.
Y'all a body cam.
So these rioters, they're out there combating their own state police. And this is something they're furious about. These radicals, they think that their sanctuary police should be on their side against the federal government. It confuses them how they can be in a sanctuary state, yet the police still show up and enforce law and order.
Joey, here we have had huge crowds of protesters coming out every Friday for the past month, and this is the first time we are not seeing chaos, and that's because today, for the first time, state and local officials allowed police to actually be involved in the crowd control with these protests. And
wow, so that facility, it's dead silent. There's nothing going on there now because ICE came into town, wouldn't back down, wouldn't pack up and leave. Yes, the local sanctuary police force, they stood down, but now the state police are there, and they're not taking any guff from these rioters. And you've got to wonder if ICE had packed up and left, if the state police would even have shown up to get these non-peaceful protesters off the streets, to stop them from disrupting what they say is their own neighborhood, where they're constantly agitating with law enforcement. Imagine that. A little bit of law enforcement starts, and then wow, we've got a massive crackdown on criminal activity. Criminal activity some local leaders are trying to protect.
Broadview Police Chief Thomas Mills says ICE agents are breaking the law every day this fence is here, blocking the village street in front of this detention center.
We are experiencing an immediate public safety crisis.
A wall of metal built secretly overnight a week and a half ago without a permit or permission from emergency responders.
Are you guys ready to just break that fence down if you have to?
We are.
So now that state police are here with crowd control barriers, that fence gets to stay and the rioters get to leave. But as you're about to see, there's more.
Actually, the fence got taken down because of the judge that pushed that, saying that it was wrong for them to have it up, so they had to bring it down, which basically endangers more of the ICE agents.
I mean, they should have just went and busted the fence down like he said that they were willing to do, and then see what happens.
But that's what caused the state troopers to come out instead to help the ICE agents, because CPD was told to stand down when ICE agents were being attacked and surrounded. So the state troopers said, nah, we're not playing this game. We're going to go out and help our fellow police officers.
The state troopers are dope, man. Like CPD, fucking sissies and
work
shit.
for ICE to do on the streets of this sanctuary state, and it's bringing them into contact with some of these very agitators on their home turf. Wow, this is crazy. Look at this, tear gas everywhere.
Is that ICE agents came attempting to conduct an operation. People in the area were pointing out that
at a
ICE
supermarket
was present, and they apparently got agitated through tear gas canisters at the people that were here. Did not detain anyone, is my understanding, and then they did a U-turn in the middle of the street and abruptly left.
So here we've got ICE raiding a supermarket looking for fugitives, and they've got to altercate with the general public, who are all upset at their presence. But the thing is, the general public, they don't understand that whoever ICE is looking for has probably been in jail recently or in a government building recently. Yet there's zero cooperation. So what happens? ICE has to go looking for these people at the supermarket. And the crazy thing about this is forcing ICE into the very communities that say they don't want ICE around. Well, it just means we need more ICE agents in these communities because they're outnumbered. They're dealing with an activist, hostile population. Officers are now in danger when they try to do their jobs. They're not in danger when they try to do their job in a jail or in a courthouse. But as you're about to see, it's not just illegal fugitives that are getting arrested in Chicago.
No.
He has constitutional rights. Do you have a sign?
No, you need to leave before you turn around. You're turn around and leave.
He is under.
I'm going to arrest you if you not leave. You are going to be placed under arrest.
Oh,
Do you have a sign?
You get dumbass.
They keep asking for stuff ICE doesn't even need.
You can hear Alderwoman Jessie Fuentes asking several times if the agents had a judicial.
So you've got this local politician who shows up at a hospital where ICE is with a fugitive who ran from them and needed to visit a hospital afterwards. And she's there being an activist. And she wonders why she gets arrested. It's crazy. Because ICE doesn't need a warrant to arrest somebody who's here illegally. And if they need to bring somebody to a hospital, they're allowed to do that. And if you interfere with them while they're at the hospital, they can still arrest you too. Yet the violence machine has trained its foot soldiers and its politicians to confront ICE and get themselves on camera asking to see warrants. And they claim ICE is out there breaking the law even when Google's AI knows this is fake news. Totally bogus. Anyone can look.
So you see that? It literally says it.
Google, motherfuckers.
No, ICE does not always need a judicial warrant to make an arrest because immigration law permits warrantless arrest under certain circumstances, such as when an officer has reasonable suspicion that a person in the U.S. is illegal. So, yeah, the U.S. 1325 and 1326 basically tells you that they don't need one. That's also why they have deportation orders. They get a list that has like names on there and like pictures or description and tells them like, hey, we need, Jose. Go get him, he's over here in this location, and then you go, and then all these people come out saying, I want a warrant. Like,
oh, nice. This up. And you know what? That reveals that the resistance that ICE and the federal government are facing in these sanctuaries, it's based on nothing but lies.
Surveillance video from Wednesday morning shows federal agents in unmarked vehicles jumping out and chasing after a group of people standing in front of the homeless shelter in Bronzeville.
Everyone's running.
They never identified themselves. They never asked for anyone in particular, didn't present any warrants. They simply gave chase, and 5 people were initially detained.
Video captured a shelter staff member talking with agents. The executive director of Bright Star Community.
It's funny too because they say they didn't identify themselves, but the back of their coat and the front of their coat literally says ICE. Like it literally says DHS or Border Patrol. It's like they don't need to give you anything.
And it's legit. It ain't written in damn crayon.
Development Corporation says this group manages the shelter for the city, serving a mixed population of migrants and the unhoused.
So this raid happens in front of a homeless shelter where apparently illegal immigrants can get a place to stay, and the local activists are angry that ICE didn't stop what they were doing and walk over to them and give them a full rundown of why they were there while the fugitives were running away. It's a very bizarre situation. And I guess the good news is that if you're in Chicago and you're homeless, there may be a few extra shelter beds that just opened up. But this incident, just like the hospital arrest, is now being used by the political violence machine to further radicalize those who already hate law and order against the federal government, telling them that ICE is so heartless and so evil that federal fugitive lawbreakers, they can't even stay in a homeless shelter without worrying about ICE. But look at what's going down on the streets in this city when activists decide to take things up a notch. Look at this. ICE agents in a white vehicle. And they're surrounded. People are blowing their illegal immigrant whistles to warn people. And here comes the gas. Look, they're boxed in. Got a guy on a moped up there. Won't let him move. This is terrible.
Because they're being surrounded by people.
This is awful. These people, they're just cursing at them.
Go home, man.
Telling them to leave. This is awful. And they wonder why this kind of thing is happening, because they're staging an insurrection. This is an insurrection. You don't box federal agents in.
Nope.
You don't do that. That's dangerous. If you box federal agents in, they have to assume you're going to ambush them or attack them. These people, they don't even know the type of escalation that they're bringing upon Chicago. But you know who does? The chief of police, Chicago.
About certain things.
I believe the only time that they arrested somebody was that incident with the Marimar chick that literally rammed the ICE vehicles, and she had a get on her and she got shot by ICE. They tried to like say like a woman was shot in Chicago by ICE, but they didn't give you the context of it, which context matters. And then you had that other incident with the other two, like during the actual Broadview ICE protest that was happening. They were looking for two people that came there with guns, and then there was another one that was on the live that was also at that same location that had a knife that they were looking for. So ICE agents are on edge because you have all these people literally coming after them. And then not to mention that Latin King gangbanger who put a bounty on them. You have the Mexican cartels that are increasing the bounties to 50,000 to like basically unalive all these freaking ICE agents. So it's like, that's why they're, shoot first, ask later.
If I was, ICE or DHS, I would have reversed that, put a bounty on all the gangbangers. See how they like that.
That'd be funny, but yeah.
One good turn deserves another, right?
Well,
y'all want to play these games.
I mean, that's kind of like we're heading in that direction. That's why sometimes I ask, my followers, like, hey, do you think we're already in a civil war? Or do you think that there's going to actually be a Black Swan event, like a flashpoint where it's going to just push us over that edge? Because we're kind of teetering right now. Right now we're in civil strife, but we're getting there, especially with all the violence that's happening against the right. Nothing's happening to the left.
We're going to end up like that scene in Pokemon.
Where
the cartoon,
Pikachu
remember?
Is crying?
Where they're fighting each other.
Oh.
My brother. Remember? And they're fighting each other.
I don't know why I went to Pikachu crying. Like, that was my
well,
first
he was
thought.
in that. Wasn't he crying in that one?
Yeah, because Ash died.
And then, like, the tears and all that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was so sad.
That's why. But that is like, or it could be like in Stitch where he was like the dude with the spatula, or he goes to the other guy.
Agents, ICE, HSI,
this is the chief of police for
are
CPD.
officers. They are agents of law enforcement.
That's right.
If you box them in with vehicles,
this is the guy that
it
was
is
trying to
reasonable for
pull
them
back
to
saying
believe
that the
that they
911
are being
operator
ambushed.
misunderstood.
Right.
That this could end in a deadly situation.
Oh shit.
And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions.
I can't believe we're hearing this. This guy, he just became a hero for law enforcement all around the country. And he's 100% right, but zero people in Chicago want to admit it. However, if they would listen, and if they would tell their radicalized sanctuary mobs to listen, none of what we're witnessing here might be happening.
Following law enforcement agents around, the question is why?
Right.
What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them.
Especially when at these riots at the Chicago ICE facility, several protesters have been arrested with weapons. Why would you bring a weapon to a quote-unquote peaceful protest? That doesn't make any sense.
If you ram
do them a favor.
Any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death.
This man is just trying to save his
when
job.
you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you.
The crazy thing is, we've got these sanctuary mayors, these sanctuary governors who are just going on these wild tirades, accusing the president and ICE of all these horrible things, radicalizing their own voters who are then doing what the police chief says is against the law and what you shouldn't do. You know, the police chief here, he might be the only reason Chicago hasn't completely imploded, despite the mayor and the governor's best efforts to make that happen. What do you think about this? Do you think these protesters...
Get off my damn screen, man. Shit.
So, yeah, Brandon Johnson and I believe Pritzker were at the No Kings rally on Saturday, and they were calling for, like, I think they were talking about Trump and calling him, you know, at the usual words, you know, like, we don't need no kings, this is a democracy.
And saying, come and get me.
Yeah. It's stupid. So, yeah, that's what this is about. Still, chaos is still going on in Chicago, and it's amping up. What are your thoughts?
Chicago's stupid right now. Everybody who's doing all of this crap to ICE agents and all these facilities, you're stupid. It's just the stupidity, the hypocrisy, the woke-tard shit is bullcrap. It's all bullcrap.
But you have to admit, it's fun to watch them get taken down every time. When, like, that one incident with that one guy who got, like...
the tear gas guy?
No.
He made me cry with the tear gas.
The guy that got Superman, you know, like, he got, like, speared.
Wasn't that in a different place?
That was a different protest that happened at.
Yeah, but that was dope, man.
But I'm saying, like, you wouldn't have clicks like that because it'd be hilarious to watch those.
That was awesome. Somebody should have popped out and been like, gore! Gore! That would have been dope.
No, you gotta do the Roman Reigns thing and then go like that.
Roman Reigns! Somebody should have did that, right?
Yeah.
Should have came out saying that and then going like this.
That would have been hilarious. So we're gonna leave it there, guys. Let us know if there's any videos you want us to react to. We'll hit you guys up later. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one.